my main research subjects are concerning Polish-German relationships and Polish and European political thought. And in this perspective, the problem of the Armenian genocide could be viewed as a marginal, as far as I am concerned. But I came upon this subject as I was doing my research on my book about censorship, press censorship in Prussia. Or in fact in the Prussian partition zone, because Poland was partitioned in the 19th century, and I was doing research on this subject. And then in Poznań archives, which have the huge materials from the Prussian monarchy, I came upon the several documents that were concerning this Armenian genocide, as far as, for example, the Turkish-German relations were concerned in the beginning of the 20th century. And first of all, I would like to begin with a question. Who now remembers about the destruction of the Armenians? The famous question put by the famous, but not very pleasant one person, was put in Obersalzberg on the 25th of August 1939 by Adolf Hitler during the conference with top commanders of Wehrmacht. It was the last conference before the aggression against Poland. And as Hitler was discussing, or was in fact defining the actual aims of this war against Poland, the war of destruction, of mass destruction, then he put this question as a kind of incitement, of giving good advice to his commanders to be as cruel as possible, as brutal as possible, because the history belongs to victors. And in fact, who now remembers about the destruction of the Armenian population? So the keeping in mind the importance of this tragedy of this genocide, which took place in Turkey on the eve of the 20th century, is very important, in fact. And as far as I am concerned, or as a Polish historian, I should also remark here that the Armenian population formed a part of this multinational Polish state, which was destroyed in the end of the 18th century, which was destroyed by the Russia, Prussia, and Austria. And this multinational republic or Commonwealth, in fact, was built by several national groups. Of course, the largest one and the dominant were Poles. Also were Lithuanians, Germans, Jews, but also Armenians. Armenians who came to Poland, or in fact to this eastern and southeastern parts of this ancient multinational Respublika. They came in the 16th and 17th centuries as immigrants, and they built very large colonies. For example, in Lwów, in several cities, they were merchants. They were actively in commerce involved. But I am saying that this Armenian population also contributed to the Polish history as a part of this multinational state. And in fact, in the 19th century, several very well-known patriots, Polish patriots, who were involved in this fighting for the state independence, they were of the Armenian origins. And in fact, it was very the connections between the Polish and Armenian population were in fact very intense, and that's why for me as a Polish historian it was a very good cause to research this subject. The historical background of the Armenian Genocide, first of all, should be stated here. The Armenian Genocide took place in Turkey in the beginning of the 20th century. In Turkey, which was governed by the so-called Young Turks regime. Young Turks, this group, which seized power in Turkey in 1998. The Sultan was officially the head of state, but in fact the Young Turks governed the Turkey. Young Turks was a group of young officers, army officers, and also intellectuals who emigrated in the West, to the West, for example in France, but also in Germany, and then were back in 1908 and seized power as a coup d'etat in Turkey. And the program of the political and also cultural program of this new regime was in fact very modern. Modernization of Turkey was the main aim of this new regime. Modernization. But this modernization of Turkey was viewed also by the Young Turks as making of the state the main instrument of realization of this modernization. The state should be the main factor in this process, and the state should be reformed. The state should be a new one, and this new Turkey needed also a new program. In fact, a new ideology. And that's why the Armenian Genocide should be viewed as the archetype of all genocide in the 20th century Europe. Archetype. So it was in fact a pattern of several of them coming in later years, genocides. Archetype, as far as ideology, as a prime mover of this genocide. Ideology which was provided by the so-called pan-Turanism. Pan-Turanism. Great Turkey. Great Turkey, which should be built around this Turkish Ottoman Empire, reformed, modernized, and it should be a central point of this new Turkey, which should be from the Bosphorus to Altai in the Central Asia. And this new community, new Turkish community, Great Turkey, should be built according to ethnic categories. Ethnicism, ethnic community should be the main reigning factor. And I would like you to keep this in mind, that this fact was the most important difference between the past and the present, between the ancient Turkey and the situation of the Armenian population in this ancient Turkey, and between this situation of the same population, of the same Armenian population, in this new, which should be a new one, Turkey. Because before Young Turks came to power, Turkey, or where is Eurasia?
There is within the
here?
Yeah, here behind the door.
Because when the Armenians, the Greeks, or the Syrian Christians lived under Sultan regime, which was not a very modern one, they lived in so-called millet system. Millet system. Millet is a Turkish word for describing the autonomous religious group. The religious group, which was non-Muslim, which governed itself by rules and by history, also by cultural background, and it was also controlled by the central power, but it was tolerated as such. Of course, Armenians as Christians were in fact in Turkey second-class citizens. They were not allowed, for example, to have a very influential part in politics, for example. But they were very active in commerce. They for example, also in such professions as lawyers, as teachers, for this community, for this millet, or so-called Emri millet. Emri millet is in Turkish the Armenian group. They were developing their own intelligentsia, their own professions, such as lawyers, as teachers, as bankers also, and it was tolerated. It was overviewed by the Sultan regime, but in fact this system of millet was deteriorating, was coming to destruction at the end of the 18th century, at the end of the 19th century, as the status of Turkey as great power was also deteriorating, as Turkey was viewed as the so-called sick man of Europe, and the borders of Turkey in the Balkan region was diminishing, and they were, for example, many immigrants, Turkish immigrants, were settled in the Armenian regions of the Eastern Anatolia. On the eve of the 20th century, at about 2 million Armenians lived in Turkey, basically in Eastern Anatolia, and also in big cities such as Constantinople or Erzurum or Bitlis and something like that. But it should be also kept in mind that Eastern Anatolia was not, for the Armenian population, was not a destination of immigration. It was their homeland. It was the central part of the homeland, of the historical Armenia. The Armenian state, which had a very long history, before 19th century or 18th century, was formed in Anatolia, long before Turks came to Asia Minor. And it's one of the basic facts that should be remembered here. And the destruction of this millet Emri, of this millet system, was dramatically